Okay, so whenever you're ready, Don.
Okay. Yeah. In a minute, as soon as you hit 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Okay. It's 9 o'clock. Thank you, everybody. Essa, can you take roll?
Sure. So directors I have in attendance are Chair Don Mende, Vice Chair Gary Mackler, Sean Sasaki, Carol Riemann, Roderick Becker, and Kimberly Sparlin.
All right. Thanks, Essa. So we have a quorum. Call the meeting to order. First, I guess item number 2. I need can I get a motion to approve the regular minutes for the regular meeting on May 13th, 2021?
Move.
Second.
Thanks, Gary. Any discussion, additions, or deletions? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Thank you. Item 2B, can I get a motion to approve the executive session minutes for May 13th, 2021?
Move.
I'll second.
Oh, thank you. Is there any comment, additions, or deletions? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Thank you. Moving on to item 3, discussions for the meeting. This meeting is going to be a little different. We have a couple of items on our agenda that I think we have a lot of stakeholders that registered, and I think it might be beneficial to the board to hear some comments. So on certain items, if there's registered voters or registered people attending that want to make a comment, please limit your comments to 3 minutes or less, so we can get through this agenda.
If I may, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Francis Kino, Deputy Director for HHFDC. Yes, I understand there might be stakeholders who wish to provide oral testimony on a couple items on the agenda. Normally, under the current practice and Governor's proclamation, if you want to provide oral testimony, you would need to register to do so. That's clearly provided on the agenda that we post. But I believe because of the importance of certain items on the agenda and at the board's discretion, you graciously will allow the stakeholders to provide testimony. But let me briefly just go over the, oral testifying rules. As you mentioned, limited to 3 minutes, subject to the chair's discretion. Neither the board nor staff will be required to respond to testimony or to answer questions posed in the oral testimony. And I will be keeping time on the 3 minutes. And so I just want to provide that to whoever elects to submit or provide oral testimony in items. So just wanted to cover that. If you have any questions for me on the logistics, happy to entertain them now, but wanted to share that with everyone. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Francis. Yes, and also, I guess another household item is, please keep yourself on mute, I guess, until you want to make comment, then unmute yourself, just so that we don't capture any background noise that may be going on. So, okay, moving forward, I guess for item 3A, information and discussion on the state's proposal for the Homeowner Assistance Fund program.
Good morning and aloha board members. Thank you very much, Chair Mendy. And good morning to all the stakeholders joining us this morning. For those in our viewing audience, my name is Denise Iseri Matsubara, and I am the Executive Director of HHFDC. I'm going to attempt to share my screen. Oh, let's see. Screen. Okay. Can everyone see the screen?
Yep.
So today we would like to present the draft Homeowners Assistance Fund program. This presentation is being done to fulfill a public hearing requirement by U.S. Treasury in order for Hawaii to receive funding from the federal government. A copy of the draft plan was attached as Exhibit A to this for information and posted on our website for public viewing. Okay, let me see. Okay, so in March of this year, President Biden signed into law the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, of which just under $10 billion was appropriated to establish the Homeowners Assistance Fund. The whole purpose of this program and fund is to help homeowners experiencing financial hardship as a result of the coronavirus pandemic. For the state to receive these mortgage relief funds, a draft plan or a plan must be submitted to the U.S. Treasury by June 30th of this year. So the whole allocation, Hawaii will receive a minimum of $50 million with programming at about $14.5 million and up to 15% being allotted for administrative expenses. Eligible expenses include mortgage payments, property taxes, utilities, homeowner association fees, and other resources to help borrowers avoid foreclosure. So the proposed structure will be similar to what is currently in place for the Emergency Rental Assistance Program that is being administered by the counties, with the prime recipient being the Department of Budget and Finance. And the plan is to be administered by the counties because they are those that are closest to the community that will be served. BNF's role will be, of course, to be the lead agency and provide overall oversight. HHFDC's role will be to assist with programming and management oversight. So the Treasury guideline outlines certain priorities, one of which is income level. 60% of the funds need to be applied to households at or below 100% of the area median income. The socially disadvantaged, as defined by the Code of Federal Regulations, is another priority. Specifically, it pertains to Black Americans, Hispanic Americans, Native Americans, Asian Americans, and Pacific Islanders. According to preliminary data from UHERO, about 70% of mortgaged homeowners would likely fall in this category. The type of loan is another priority specified in Treasury's guidance, and namely its FHA, VA, and USDA RD loans. I would like to add that these are priorities and not absolutes. A lot will depend on the data that is being collected and analyzed by UHERO. And at this time, I'm not sure if he's on the call, but I would like to recognize Dr. Phil Garboden of the University of Hawaii, as he has been doing the data collection and will also be performing the analysis. So what's required to get the funds to Hawaii? Well, we have to submit a plan or a draft to Treasury by the end of the month or request an extension. And then the other requirement is that we hold a public hearing, which we're doing today. In terms of outreach and engagement, we circulated the plan to and met with various stakeholders, the county housing directors and lenders group in May, and also the financial counseling agencies this month. I want to underscore that this plan is still largely a work in progress, and we will continue to collaborate with stakeholders before submitting the final plan to Treasury. The plan must describe the needs of homeowners, the design of each program or the options we plan to offer, performance goals, information regarding the state or county's readiness to implement, and also a forecast of how the funds will be spent. Our initial plan was to run a pilot in Hawaii and Kauai County, utilizing the current infrastructure in place that is administering the emergency rent assistance program. And we wanted to do it to evaluate the readiness of the program for a statewide launch. However, we did discover that we just simply don't have enough disaggregated information at this time. So what's the implications? Well, a new RFP may have to be launched. New software may be necessary, and we may need more robust software designed to track the type of financial information communicated between loan servicers or lenders and the borrowers and the nonprofit administering the program. The key to this whole program is going to be the financial counselors, as they will need to not only determine the best options to avoid foreclosure, they need to maximize the use of very limited funds. With the potential demand being roughly 18,000 households in need, and if the maximum payout is set at $30,000 as indicated in the draft plan, and if many applicants need to pay arrearage down, we would only be able to assist 1,400 households, a small fraction, less than 8% of the 18,000 in need. To put this in context, the total number of applications received in just 1 month for the rent assistance program is about 18,000. So guidance to do loan modifications, to extend the term of the loan over simply paying out down the full arrearage may need to be considered. So this concludes my brief presentation this morning. I'd like to call upon our Chief Planner, Janice Takahashi, to check I didn't miss anything and if she wants to add anything at this time.
Thanks, Denise. Good presentation. Aloha board members, aloha chair and board members. No, I think Denise covered it well. This plan for sure is a work in progress. We have a number of stakeholders in attendance today, and I'd really like to have them have the opportunity to share with you their thoughts. Thank you.
Before we go there, thank you very much, Janice. Before we go there, board members, do you have any questions?
I just had one. I thought I heard you say as far as the administrative fees, it was 14 million, but no, it's actually, was it 7.5?
Yes.
I think the presentation said 7.5 and thought I heard 14.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's 7.5, so up to 15%.
Okay, okay.
So it is not a whole lot of administrative dollars. So thank you for that clarity.
Does any of the board members have any comments? If not, is there anyone from the public that want to make a statement?
Good morning, Mr. Chair. My name is Lori Tsuhako. I'm the Director of Housing and Human Concerns for the County of Maui. And thank you very much for offering us an opportunity to speak about this draft plan. Those of us at the County of Maui appreciate Denise and Janice and all of their colleagues for really convening a group of people, stakeholders early in the process, kind of laying it out. When they shared the timeline to get a draft into the feds by the end of June, my head kind of went, phew, like, how is that going to be possible? But they worked really hard. I think they came up with a good draft plan that certainly incorporates the data and the feedback that the County of Maui was able to offer. So there are days when I don't know how we will administer one more thing. But I do think that there are people in our community who would benefit from this program and the assistance that's available. So we stand by, ready to do whatever we need to do to work with Denise and Janice and everyone else at HHFDC and with budget and finance to get this done. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Laurie.
Thank you, Laurie. Oh, one other thing too. Yeah. Thanks, Laurie. But when you do speak, could you just mention your name so we know who you are? Thanks. Anybody else?
Hi, good morning. Sharon Hirota, County of Hawaii, representing our housing administrator, Susan Coons, who couldn't be here this morning. So, aloha chair and board members. Just want to reiterate what Laurie said in regards to this program. Hawaii Island, as we look at it, from our first round of CARES funding for rent and mortgage, we helped. When we looked at our data, 48% of those that we helped were renters, and the other 52% came out of homeowners on Hawaii Island. We also have data in regards that we shared with HHFDC and Budget and Finance in regards to the number of mortgage holders that we had to turn away because we had depleted our funds. And as we worked feverishly in spending down the emergency rent program here on Hawaii Island, we're continuing to see a number of mortgage holders who are submitting their application in hopes that we're going to help them. So we have a list where, like Mao, we're trying to figure out how we're going to manage one more program, but this is an opportunity to help those families that were impacted by the pandemic. So looking forward to working alongside a continued partnership and providing much needed services and resources to our families. So thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. Anyone
Good
else?
morning. Yeah, good morning. My
morning.
name is Jean Lilly. I'm with Hawaii Habitat for Humanity, and we are also a certified community development financial institution. And I just want to tell you that we have been watching our state and our counties being totally overwhelmed with stimulus money and trying to get it out with good with efficiently and so forth. And the CDFIs in Hawaii have kind of been talking, and we want to help where we can in relieving some of the pressure. Our organizations are used to lending money and are used to working with homeowners and have, I believe, I'm not sure, Janice would know, we have sent a proposal to involve the CDFIs into the process so that we can help efficiently distribute the funds, as well as working with the families who need the help, and especially with modifying mortgages and so forth so that they can continue to live in their homes. So if you have any questions, I'll be here.
Thank you, Jean. Is there
Aloha.
anyone else?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, yes.
Hi, aloha. I'm Kuhio Lewis. I'm the president and CEO with CNHA, the Council for Native Hawaiian Advancement. I just wanted to jump on the call and provide some background. We have been administering rent and mortgage assistance for almost well over a year now. We started with the rental and mortgage assistance program administered by the city and county. So if the question is, should we go after these funds? The answer should absolutely be yes. I can tell you that of the 25 million that was dispersed through the city funds last year, approximately 30% of it went toward mortgage assistance. Currently, one of the main drivers of denying folks now, so we've dispersed through the city and county again over 20 million, 21 million so far in rental assistance. And one of the primary reasons in which we're denying people is because they're applying for assistance that doesn't apply to their situation, and that's mortgage assistance. So we should absolutely be going after these funds. As far as the challenges, that there are challenges, it's nothing that we can't overcome. I want to recognize HHFDC. They've been engaging us quite regularly to provide updates, and guidance changes almost daily. And so ensuring that we're staying on top of the guidance is important. But we've been having multiple conversations about how we can make this program work. There is capacity issues in your nonprofit sector right now. There's money that's just unheard of coming down. But I do think that this is an opportunity for us collectively as nonprofit to build our capacity, and so we can serve in a greater way, not just now with these resources, but well into the future. So the CDFI, we are to a CDFI, a community development financial institution. We stand ready. Where there is a lack of capacity on our part, we're ready to build it. So we want to encourage you to go after these funds, and we will commit to working with your department to find solutions to make it a successful program for our residents. Thank you.
Thank you, Kuhio.
Hi, I'm Sherry Dotson, Executive Director for Habitat for Humanity Maui. We are a HUD certified housing agency. We also are a mortgage company and a mortgage servicer. We have been working with MEO here on Maui, who have primarily been the agency to distribute the funds that have come in thus far. We've been helping with when we receive phone calls of people desperate to do the referral and also do the homeowner education. We are available and ready to assist on the homeowner education and counseling portion of this. I think it's actually a really great idea, not just to keep handing people money, but to also to give them the skills on, so that it doesn't happen again. Or also, a lot of people are very intimidated about working with their mortgage company. And so being that strong arm to kind of help them. Again, we're willing, we're able, and we're excited about being able to help the residents of Maui County.
Thank you, Sherry.
Aloha, sorry I'm late. My name is Kahonani. I'm with Hawaii Community Lending, and we're a native CDFI, just like Julio and Laura. Oh wait, Hawaii first. We're here to propose our plan to assist Hawaii's homeowners who is desperately needing assistance. But before I do my proposal, I just wanted to acknowledge the amazing work that community nonprofits, HUD agencies, and CDFIs have and continue to do in this crisis. All of our community partners and their employees work silently in providing assistance with less or no recognition. So mahalo to all the HUD agencies and CDFIs for your continued work. They do this hard work with compassion, empathy, and commitment. Through their hard work, we believe we build a relationship. And why we believe our proposed plan fits for the federal requirements to help homeowners in need, it starts from relationship building. Like Sharon had said with the RMAP and ERAP program, relationship building starts with a simple phone call, a simple email, and start with community. And as a former HUD foreclosure counselor, beneficiary advocate, and a loan modification analyst with a local bank, I believe understanding the importance of developing a relationship with our families and individuals who we serve will instill trust. Trust will allow nonprofits and CDFIs to serve with the utmost respect and confidence to provide assistance our families desperately need. When families are served with HUD counseling agencies, like Hawaiian Community Assets, they will develop an emergency budget and action plan, which is the first steps to overcoming any emergency financial hardship. We also believe that with the expertise of CDFIs, we will be able to determine which type of assistance our families will need. And the assistance that we are proposing through the funds that we're asking from the HAR or Homeowners Assistance Funds are mortgage and housing payment assistance, mortgage default resolution grants, and mortgage reinstatement grants. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Carl.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, hi, my name is Victor Brock. I work for Hawaii State Federal Credit Union. We are direct seller servicer to Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, and we have loans in our portfolio. Our total loans in forbearance right now are approximately 100 of them with $40 million in balances. I also serve on the board of directors of the Mortgage Bankers Association of Hawaii, and there are many direct servicers that are members and on the board of the Mortgage Bankers Association of Hawaii. I just have a couple comments about the Exhibit A from the HHFDC document. I'm not sure if this is now the time to address those or not, but I did want to note this is the Exhibit A of the Homeowners Association, Homeowners Assistance Fund Program document that was provided by the HHFDC. And I note on particularly page 11 of Exhibit A at the top, it indicates that the funds may be used to pay mortgage arrearages that accrued before January 21, 2021, so January 21st of this year. Yet I see indications throughout the documents that there's tables provided for both 2020 area median income and 2021 area median income. And I guess my question or concern is I don't see the point of using 2021 area and median income tables for arrearages that have already accrued by January 2021. It would be more appropriate to use area and median income tables for 2020. And all this entire document, I'm not clear whether the proposal is to use either or both. What standard is supposed to be met to qualify someone for eligibility for these funds? I think it should be one or the other. It should be made clear, and I recommend that it should be used 2020 because that we already know what they made in 2020, and it's hard to assess what their total income will be for 2021 if you're trying to evaluate someone for the eligibility when we roll this program out in July or August. Another comment I have is on page 12 of Exhibit A. It lists the criteria for eligibility in Section E as in Edward. And one of the bullet points listed here is the second to the last bullet point is that the applicant for the assistance must, it says, do not have other resources, parentheses, e.g. savings, rental income, et cetera, parentheses, available to cover mortgage payments. So if you are going to require asset depletion, it needs to be clearly defined whether that's assets that include retirement funds, IRAs, 401ks, or exclusive of assets. And I will tell you that if you require asset depletion to a very low level, it's going to make a lot of folks ineligible for this type of assistance, particularly if you consider retirement funds and retirement savings. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Victor.
Chair Mendy?
Yep.
Can I just make a comment to that? I just wanted to thank Victor because it's really important to hear from our lenders group And we will look at those things, the income tables of use, and then the eligibility. The whole point of narrowing down the eligibility is because of the limited funds available, and based on some of the feedback that we received from the lending institutions that was put in there. So we will try to address your concerns. Thank you very much for providing them.
All right, thanks. Anybody else? No. All right.
Chair,
Yeah.
sorry, this is Janice. Nalani Fujimori Kaina of the Legal Aid Society of Hawaii provided some comments. May I read it to you all?
Sure.
Thank you. Okay. Okay. Nalani Fujimori Kaina, Executive Director of the Legal Aid Society of Hawaii, provides civil legal services and housing counseling services to those facing foreclosure and other housing crisis situations. In addition, we have been working closely with Hawaii residents who are in crisis due to pending evictions. These funds are critically needed in our community. However, knowing the limited funds, we do not recommend that a statewide platform be used in order to leverage. We do recommend that a statewide platform be used in order to leverage the administrative cost of the program with locally based organizations delivering these services. Our concern is the ability for our community to easily access this program in a uniform way. We have seen these challenges in accessing the various rental assistance programs in each of the various counties. We also believe that sufficient funds need to also be provided for housing counseling and legal services, as it is uncertain as to the funds which may be available through the latest HUD housing counseling NOFA. And through statewide leveraging, we can ensure that as much funds as possible can be available for mortgage assistance. Malama pono. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Janice. Okay, if there's no other comments for this, we shall move on to item number 3B. This is to update on the construction of the Kahului Emergency Housing Project for use as an affordable family rental housing project targeting homeless families located in Kahului, Maui, TMK 238007117 portion of.
Hi, thank you, Chair. My name is Albert Palmer.
And my name is Teresa Dean.
And we're going to present this for action with share screen, so give me 1 second. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay. So this for information is to provide an overview of and updates on the Kahului Emergency Housing Project, which is also known as Huliau Hale, which is a pilot project between HHFDC and the County of Maui to help address homelessness. The project site is located at the northwest corner of Ka'ahumanu Avenue and Wahine Pia Avenue in Kahului and is owned by the county. HHFDC's involvement is limited to a 4-acre portion of the site on the south side of the property, which was leased to the University of Hawaii Maui Community College in 1980. UH constructed dorms on the site. However, the dorms have been unused and vacant for the past 15 years and have become significantly deteriorated to the point where they had to basically be taken down to the studs and rebuilt. In December 2018, the governor issued an emergency proclamation for homelessness that suspended certain statutes in order to allow projects addressing homelessness to be completed more easily. And this project qualified under the emergency proclamation. Maui County's Department of Housing and Human Concerns submitted a proposal to HHFDC for the project, which was to be completed in 3 phases. Phase 1 would renovate the existing dorms as new homeless housing on the 4-acre portion of the property shown in red. Phase 2 would be pre-development work for phase 3, and phase 3 would be the construction of additional new units on the northern portion of the property shown in yellow, which HHFDC will not be involved with. The legislature appropriated 5 million out of the dwelling unit revolving fund for phase 1 of the project, with any excess funds to be allocated to phase 2. Dispersing the appropriated funds for the project required a little bit of creativity. HHFDC and the county had to come up with a solution which would allow compliance with both the legislative appropriation and also the rules of the DERF program. The solution we came up with was that the county would lease the phase 1 area of the site to HHFDC. The county would do the renovation, and then HHFDC would sublease the same site back to the county. And this solution allowed the project to proceed as envisioned.
So here we have a site plan of phase 1 of the project, which shows the 3 original dorm buildings and the community center. For the dorms, there are 4 units per building for a total of 12 dorms. Each dorm is a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom unit with no common or shared spaces between the dorms. The original community building was converted into a laundry and rec center, where the county plans to provide wraparound supportive services in this space for residents. I'm sorry, Albert. Thank you. So here we have a site photo of before the renovation in 2019 of the community center. An inspection of the property found, interestingly enough, a robust bee population on the side of this building, extensive termite damage, moisture intrusion, and damaged and missing windows, doors, and gutters. Here's a site photo of a few of the dorm buildings before the renovation. An inspection found that vegetative overgrowth caused damage to the exterior of the buildings. Again, there was extensive termite damage and pest infestations to the interior and exterior of the building and significant moisture damage. To the left of the screen, you see an interior photo of one of the buildings showing the moisture and mold damage. And to the right, you find a photo of one of the dorm buildings that has damage to the side and then missing doors and windows.
Just a brief overview of the timeline. The project progressed fairly quickly thanks to the emergency proclamation. Maui submitted their proposal to us in March 2019. The board approved the project in April 2019, and by June 2020, Maui had executed its contracts with its general contractor and other contractors. And construction began on the project in September 2020. And as of last month, the project was substantially complete, and the first 5 families were selected to occupy the project. Current status of the project is that HHFDC and the county have executed a second amendment to the MOU to extend it to allow time for the remaining DERF funds to be dispersed for costs related to phase 2.
So here we have some site photos of the ongoing renovation work as of December of last year. At this point during the project, they had removed the solar panel water heaters and replaced the asphalt roofing. They had replaced the siding, installed new windows, installed new wiring and plumbing, and the drywall was installed. Here are 2 additional site photos as of December of last year. And then we have 2 interior photos of the dorm building as of February of this year. And you can see most of the interior was complete, new cabinets, countertops, appliances, and plumbing and electrical fixtures. Here we have an interior photo of one of the dorm living spaces. So as Albert had mentioned, by March of this year, the project was pretty much complete. 83% of the total project budget had been expended at this time. Hard construction costs represent about 88% of the total budget, which pencils out to about $368,000 per unit. Remaining costs for the project is to complete the EA for both phase 1 and phase 3, as well as some remaining site work costs. And again, the county had moved in the first 5 residents to the project in April. And here are 2 additional site photos of the community center and parking lot. So here are some side-by-side photos of before and after the renovation. This is the community center. And these are pictures of the dorms. So what we would like to show for you now is a video of the project blessing
that was led by Mayor Victorino. Hopefully the video works.
This project was born in about 2 years ago, utilizing something that had been left to rot away. We have revitalized this area, reinvigorated homes for our citizens. 12 units for 12 families to get off the streets, but to be able to have something decent to live in. This is historic. The partnership between the state, county, nonprofits has been amazing. The contractor, our Izumi brothers, and what they brought to the table, and what they made sure was done and done right. To Linda and Lori, thank you for all your efforts in your department. This is, Julio, it's been a vision of all of us for such a long time. And I am so proud of what all of us have done. It wasn't me, it was we, the people. Every one of you are a big part of it. And I want to say mahalos to you. We have now an opportunity for families not only to live here, play here, to work here in Kahului. Everything's available to them. But what's most important is the heart of the people. The message we're sending out that we take care of our own. Now we ask them, as their kuleana, to take care of what we have put out for them. It is important to understand that. Finally, I will say the $5 million that was provided for this under the Developing Unit Revolving Fund grant. And I want to thank the Hawaii Housing Finance and Development Corporation and the strong support of our legislators. You know, Representative Hashimoto, Senator Keith Gil Agaran, Representative Kaya Yamashita, and all of the rest, whether it was Kalani, whether it was Lena deployed, all of our senators and representatives made this happen. And we are so fortunate today. It's reality, it's here. And once our families move in and you hear the laughter of children playing, families working together, being able to have and not be on the street, but here in these beautiful dwellings. I mean, look around. This is beautiful. And the sun is shining. Keakua is looking upon us and saying, this is for our people. Mahalo to all of you. God bless you. Stay safe, stay healthy.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Albert and Teresa. All right, is there any questions from the board? Okay, moving on. So item 3C. So this is to approve a change in the affordability restrictions of the Papaloa Elderly Housing Project located in Papaloa, Hawaii, TMK 335003049. Can I get a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Thanks, Eric. Can I get a second?
Second.
Hey, Carol.
Good morning, Chair, members of the board. The subject for action requests a revision to the affordability restrictions for the Papaloa Elderly Housing Project. The project will be a newly constructed 20-unit rental facility for elderly households on the island of Hawaii. Improvements consist of 10 residential duplex buildings, 1 manager building, and 1 community building. The improvements will replace 5 older residential rental buildings consisting of 10 units. On July 9th, the HHFDC Board of Directors approved up to $350,000 in annual federal and state 9% low-income housing tax credits. On April 27, 2021, the awardee submitted a request to amend the affordability restrictions from 20 units at or below 50% AMGI to 18 units at or below 50% AMGI and the 2 remaining units as market units. The change will prevent the displacement of 2 existing tenants who have household incomes over 60% AMGI and both of whom use a wheelchair. It is difficult for them to secure rental housing that is adapted for tenants who use a wheelchair. The project has secured project-based Section 8 vouchers for all 20 units. Based on an exception for existing tenants that are at or below 70%, the 2 tenants would be able to receive assistance. Once they vacate the units, the new replacement tenants would be limited to a 50% MGI by the Section 8 voucher program. Staff reviewed the awardee's request and supports the change to the affordability restrictions on the project, and as it will remain in compliance with the low-income housing tax credit program minimum affordability requirements, and the change in the AMGI did not affect the scoring for the 9% volume cap low-income housing tax credits. The recommendation can be found on page 5 of the for action. Staff is available for questions as well as members of the development team. I believe Mr. Keith Kato is on the line and a few of his other team members.
Right, thank you. I just want to make mention before we go into any questions that I'm actually a board member of one of the related parties, so I'm going to recuse myself from this. Is there any questions from the board?
Chair, not a question, but a comment. I just want to say thank you to the developer and the developer's consultant, Keith Kato, for coming up with a very well thought out accommodation for this situation.
Thank you, Gary. Any other?
Chair?
Yes.
Deputy Attorney General Sandra Ching. May I just comment that I want to clarify before the vote is taken that Mike McCartney, Director McCartney, is he present or is there a designee today?
Looks like Mary Alice. Mary Alice, are you on?
I am. I'm sorry, I was muted. Members and Chair, I am the designated alternate for Michael McCartney, the ex officio member for the Department of Business, Economic Development and Tourism.
Okay, and then I also ask that any people acting in the capacity as a director either introduce themselves before they vote or go on camera, because we need that for purposes of acknowledging what their vote is. So Director Becker, if you are going to be voting, can you please put yourself on camera? This is guidance that was given by Office of Information Practices. Thank you.
Okay. Do we need to take a roll call vote or just as long as we can see everybody?
They suggest that, but I think we have decided it's not mandatory. So we can just, if you acknowledge and the secretary acknowledges who's voting and is confident in the vote, then that's fine.
Okay, because I think I was taking the approach here. If there was not a unanimous vote, then we would go and take a roll call.
That's fine, Chair.
Okay. Okay. So I guess if there's no other questions, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you. Okay, moving on to item 3D. This one is to approve an extension to resolution number 136, which provides for official intent with respect to the issuance of Hulume multifamily tax exempt revenue bonds for the Kaiaulu o Kapiolani project located in Hilo, Hawaii, TMK 324025048 053 and 080. Can I get a motion, please?
Move to approve.
Thank you, Gary. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you, Carol.
Good morning, Chair and members of the board. The subject for action requests a 12-month extension from June 30, 2021 to June 30, 2022 for resolution number 136, which provides for the official intent with respect to the issuance of Hulume multifamily bonds for the Kaiaulu o Kapiolani project. This is the second extension for the project. The project will be a newly constructed 64-unit rental facility for families at or below 30 to 60% AMGI on Hawaii Island. Improvement consists of 8 two-story low-rise buildings, with each building housing 8 residential units. On December 12, 2019, the HHFDC Board of Directors approved an intended tax-exempt issuance amount of up to approximately $17.8 million in Hulume multifamily bonds and up to $1.3 million in annual federal and state 4% low-income housing tax credits, and a rental housing revolving fund loan of up to $12.8 million. Requests for an extension are evaluated on 3 basic milestones: site control, zoning approvals, and securing financial commitments. Site control. The awardee has site control through a purchase agreement with an April 15, 2022 closing date. Zoning approvals. The awardee has received an extension to the County of Hawaii to extend the project completion deadline associated with the zoning designation and continues to work towards obtaining approval of the building permits. Financing commitments. The awardee is working with Hunt Capital Partners on the sale of tax-exempt bonds and the syndication of federal and state LIHTC. The recommendation can be found on page 5 of the 4 action. Staff supports the request for an extension based on the progress made. Staff is available for questions as well as the development team, Mr. Doug Bigley, and others from other development members.
All right, thanks. Is there any questions from the board? No? All right. Yes. Anything? All right, if not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you. Moving on to item 3E. And this is to related approve an extension to the rental housing revolving fund letter of intent for the Kaiaulu o Kapiolani project located in Hilo, Hawaii, TMK 324-025, 048, 053, and 080. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Thanks, Carol. Can I get a second? Thanks.
The subject for action is a request to approve a 12-month extension from June 30, 2021 to June 30, 2022 for the Rental Housing Revolving Fund Letter of Intent for the Kaiaulu o Kapiolani project. This is the 3rd extension for the project. This is the same project as the previous 4 action, so all details remain the same. The recommendation can be found on page 5 of the 4 action. Staff supports the request for an extension based on the project made. Staff is available for questions as well as the development team.
All right, thank you. Is there any questions, comments? No? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you. Moving on to item number 3F. This is another related, oh no, this is different. To approve a request from the developer to increase the low income housing tax credit reservation for the Hale Makana o Moiliili project located in Honolulu, Oahu, TMK 127 007 016 and 051. Can I get a motion, please?
Come on.
Thanks, Ian.
Second.
Thanks, Gary.
Good morning, Chair and members of the board. The subject for action requests an increase to the 4% low-income housing tax credit reservation for the Hale Makana o Moiliili project. The project will be a newly constructed 105-unit rental facility for elderly households at or below 30%, 50%, and 60% AMGI, or area median gross income on Oahu. Improvements consist of 1 6-story mid-rise building consisting of 5 stories over 1 podium deck. On December 12, 2019, the HHFDC Board of Directors approved an intended tax exempt issuance of up to $22 million in Hula May multifamily bonds, up to $999,234 in annual federal 4% LIHTC over 10 years, and up to $999,234 in annual state 4% LIHTC over 5 years, and a rental housing revolving fund loan up to approximately $13.6 million. On May 3rd, 2021, the awardee submitted a request to increase the award of annual federal and state 4% LIHTC to approximately $1,678,000 due to increases in the project budget. Exhibit C of the 4 action highlights the changes in the budget and financing sources. The approximately $9 million project budget increase was attributed to higher construction costs, project reserves, and contingency. And the increases were as follows. Approximately $7.8 million increase in construction costs prompted by the rise in all materials and labor, with the largest impact on lumber. To note, the $1.5 million decrease in site work was moved to construction vertical due to a fixed price from the contractor. Approximately $164,000 increase in project reserves due to the LIHTC investor changing the reserves from 4 to 6 months. Approximately 2.4 increase in owner's contingency to 10% from 5% per the requirement of the lender and the LIHTC investor, which includes potential costs associated with COVID and additional relocation costs. Higher project costs are mostly being absorbed by the increase in LIHTC equity, with smaller increases in the Hula May multifamily bonds and the deferred developer fee. So an approximate $8.2 million increase in LIHTC equity from Korea. And I also wanted to note that the applicant is eligible for the new minimum 4% credit floor rate. $260,000 increase in Hula May multifamily bonds. And to note, they have an authorized issuance approved up to $22 million, and it's still within this amount. And approximately $461,000 in deferred developer fees. The recommendation can be found on page 5 of the 4 action. Staff recommends approval of the project's request for the additional 4% LIHTC. Staff is available for questions, as well as Mr. Chris Flaherty and Mr. Collie Watson from the development team.
Great, thank you. Is there any questions from the board?
I have a question, Chair. I would like to ask those from the development team, are they on track based on the estimated construction timeline to get building permits in July and to start construction of the project in September?
Yes, we currently are.
Okay.
Seems like this is going to be a common theme of the increase in cost. All right, is there anything else from the board? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you. Moving on to item 3G. This is to related, I guess, approve an extension to resolution number 134, which provides for official intent with respect to the issuance of Hula May multifamily tax exempt revenue bonds for the Hale Makana o Mo'iliili project located in Honolulu, Oahu, TMK number 127 007 016 and 051. Can I get a motion, please?
Move to approve.
Thanks, Gary. Thanks, Carol.
Subject for action is a request to approve a 12-month extension from June 30th, 2021 to June 30th, 2022 for resolution number 134, which provides for official intent to issue Hula May multifamily tax exempt bonds for the Hale Makana o Mo'iliili project. This is the same project as the previous 4 actions, so I will skip the details as all details remain the same. The project is currently on weekly bond calls and does anticipate a closing in late August. Although the awardee anticipates closing in a few months, staff is recommending this extension as an abundance of caution due to the uncertain timing of the building permit. Requests for an extension are evaluated at 3 basic milestones: site control, zoning approvals, and securing financing commitments. For site control, the awardee has site control through a purchase agreement with a closing date of September 1st. Zoning approvals on March 17, 2021 The Honolulu City Council approved the 201H zoning exemption for this project. And the awardee continues to work on obtaining approvals from DCAV and building permits. For financing commitments, the awardee is working with Bank of Hawaii on the sale of tax exempt bonds and CREA on the purchase of federal and state 4% LIHTC. The recommendation can be found on page 5 of the for action. Staff supports this request based on the progress made. Staff is available as well as members of the development team.
All right, thanks. Any questions from the board? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you. Okay, moving on to item number 3H. So this is another related to approve an extension to the rental housing revolving fund letter of intent for the Hale Makana o Mo'ili project located in Honolulu, Oahu, TMK number 127-007-016 and 051. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Thanks, Karen.
Second.
Thanks, Kim.
The subject for action is a request to approve a 12-month extension from June 30th, 2021 to June 30th, 2022 for the rental housing revolving fund letter of intent for the Hale Makana o Mo'ili project. This is the same project as the previous 2 for actions, so I will skip the details. All details remain the same. The project is currently on bond calls and anticipates the bond closing in late August. Staff recommends the extension based on the progress made and as an abundance of caution due to the uncertain timing of the building permit. The recommendation can be found on page 5, and this extension coincides with the bond extension and previous for action. Staff is available for questions as well as the development.
All right, thank you. Any questions from the board? No. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Thank you. Motion carries.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving on to item number 3I. This is to approve an award of the federal and state low-income housing tax credits from the state's 2021 volume cap to 1, the villages of Laopua located in Kona, Hawaii, TMK 374-028-062 through 085, and 2, the Kaya Ulu o Halelea Apartments phase 1B located in Kihei, Maui, TMK 222-024-033, and 3, Mehaula Vista 4 located in Mililani, Oahu, TMK 1-95002-060, CPR 0004. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved. Oh, you got it.
Oh, thanks, Kim. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thanks, Gary.
Aloha, Chair, Vice Chair, distinguished members of the board. Very much appreciate your time, specifically with respect to the approval for the award of federal, state, low-income housing tax credits, 9%, as they do apply to the villages of Laopua, as well as Kaiaulu o Halalea, phase 1B, as well as Mehaula Vista 4. As you know, it is a competitive process, and in accordance with the Internal Revenue Section 42, we do publish a qualified allocation plan. And the criteria allows us to evaluate all of the applications that we receive. This year, we received 8 applications for the 9% low-income housing tax credit award. We're looking to approve only 3. I will go through and explain to you the reasons why we make these recommendations. We, as a 2021 annual amount, we have been allocated approximately $4.4 million. This is on page 2, item G of the for action. With respect to the 8 applications, they were requesting approximately 9.9 million. So you can see that there's more actual demand than what we can provide. So it is competitive. One of the applicants, unfortunately, Kyolino, failed the minimum threshold due to the fact that they were unable to provide a market study for the project. As such, we're looking to award based on not only our scoring criteria, project feasibility, the availability of the 9% low-income housing tax credits, as well as the housing interest, state of Hawaii, villages of Laopua, Kaiaulu, and Meho'ula, Vista 4. The following will be a brief summary. Villages of Laopua is located in Kona. There is a 65-year affordability period. There's also a first right of refusal for a unit purchase. That means the tenant, after 15 years, can obtain and purchase the unit, and this is what we've all been striving for, I believe, and is a great part of the housing ladder philosophy. That's 24 units, it's 3 and 4 bedrooms, and it's targeted to families earning between 30 and 60% of the area median gross income. Secondly, we have Kaiaulu o Halalea Apartments Phase 1B. This is in Kihei, Maui. Again, this is 65-year affordability. This is 56 units. It includes 2, 3, and 4 bedrooms. These are for families. And again, it's earning between 30 to 60% of the area gross median income. It's new construction, 7 2-story residential buildings. There's amenities including a playground, a picnic area, community meeting room. We'll move on to Meho'ula Vista 4. This is located in Mililani. 61 years of affordability. It's 75 units, 1 bedrooms, and these are targeted and reserved for elderly, earning between 30 and 60% of the area median gross income. It will be new construction. It will be 3-story residential. This will close out their prior efforts, which would be approximately 300 units. So all 3 projects are in line with the cost for new buildings, and we recommend, per the for action, that we award the 9% credits accordingly.
All right, thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? Nope. All right. I guess I'll call for the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. All right, motion carries. Thank you. All right, moving on to item 3J. This is to adopt the approved and rejected list of the rental housing revolving fund project awards for the 2021 funding round. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Thanks, Carol. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thanks, Gary.
Aloha again, board. Thank you. This for action, as you've already stated, it's to approve the rental housing revolving fund as it relates to the 2021 funding round. As you can see in the for action, we did receive 25 applications requesting rental housing revolving fund monies. Unfortunately, we had to decline Front Street Apartments as they failed debt service ratio. Hale Ola o Moho'uli, they also failed the market study threshold. And the Hawaii Public Housing Authority School Street, they failed debt service threshold per the allocation plan. So given that, we now have 22 applications, and based upon the information provided, staff has scored and evaluated, including the need for the local housing, the description and design of the project, the benefit and impact, as well as the management and financial leverage. All 22 applications remaining do meet the minimum threshold of 25 points out of a minimum of a maximum of 250. The approval of this project list does not obligate nor guarantee that the applicant will receive funding. It's merely we making a suggestion in the best interest for the rental housing revolving fund program that we would be allowed to, in the future, provide said funding. Our recommendation is that you approve the list as provided. This should be page 4 of the for action. And again, the approved list does not construe or indicate or guarantee that they are going to receive an award.
All right, thanks. Anything from the board?
Chair, I have a question for staff. My question is, after the utilization of rental housing revolving fund for the 9% awards, do you project there's ample rental housing revolving funds available to meet the needs of the projects that are listed in as first priority projects?
Yes, so this is actually a great question, thank you. And if you give me a moment to, what we're looking at is, and I'm going to be presenting, and it's part of the agenda, we'll be asking for your approval of rental housing revolving fund monies for the 3 previously presented projects. But yes, there will be leftover monies. Now, how we award said rental housing revolving fund money will be in conjunction with our awards for the 4% low-income housing tax credit, which we anticipate to present to you either at the next board meeting or sometime shortly thereafter.
Thank you.
The next board meeting.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, thanks. And then if there's anything left over, then that's where the secondary list goes to.
Yes, that's correct. There is priority towards these projects, and that's written in the Hawaii administrative rules. But I will be presenting to you items K, L, and M, which we will be awarding said rental housing revolving fund monies to these 9% projects, as it's required in order for them to see the project through fruition.
So thank you very much, Chris. So to get back to both the chair and vice chair, we still have a bit of things to work out. There appears to be enough rental housing revolving funds. We have to take a closer look at the impact on bond cap and the need for Hula May multifamily bonds. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Is there anything else from the board?
Chair, I just have one comment. I just want to extend my thanks to the staff in the finance and development side that have worked very hard to review the consolidated applications. I know there was a large volume this year, especially, and I know they scoured through everything carefully. And so appreciate the good work.
Thank you very much for the recognition, Vice Chair Mackler. Yes, the team, I cannot thank them enough. They spent a lot of long hours and a lot of time. So thank you very much, Chris and your team.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, thank you for all your work.
We appreciate the recognition, and I'd like to specifically Jocelyn Iomasa. She had presented previously, but her hard work, as well as Jamie Aki, I think she's still in the room, Mark Ogata. We also have Sherry, who has been a stalwart for all of this. So we appreciate all of their hard work, and me especially. It helps me with these presentations. So thank you.
All right, thanks. If there's nothing else from the board, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you. Moving on to item 3K. So this one is to approve a rental housing revolving fund project award for the Villages of Laopua project located in Kona, Hawaii, TMK 374-028-062 through 085. Can I get a motion?
Move to approve.
Thanks, Gary. Is there a second?
Second.
Thanks, Carol.
Hello, board. Presenting to you, as previously mentioned, this is the for action to approve the rental housing revolving fund monies to award Villages of Laopua, located in Kona, Hawaii, 24 units. The ask is approximately $2.62 million. We recommend that the interest rate be 0 through the years 1 and 2, the construction period. Thereafter, it will be 25 basis points or 0.25%. We believe the maturity to be approximately 57 years. It will be a junior mortgage. And we look for your recommendation and authorization and approval for said funds.
All right, thanks. Any questions from the board? No? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you. Moving on to item number 3L. This is to approve a rental rehousing revolving fund project award for the Kaya Ulu o Halele Apartments Phase 1B project located in Kihei, Maui, TMK 222024 and 033. Can I get a motion?
So move.
Thanks, Carl.
Second.
Gary, you and I are going to get into it.
Okay, thanks.
Oh. Aloha again, board. Thank you. This, as previously presented, is part of the 9% low-income housing tax credit award. Kaiaulu o Halalea Apartment Phase 1B. They're requesting approximately $9.24 million in rental housing revolving fund monies. Again, during construction, years 1 through 3, it's a 0%. Years 3 through 53, we will be charging 25 basis points, approximately 0.25%. The maturity of it, 55 years. It will again be a junior mortgage, but we do recommend awarding the said $9.24 million for the project so that we can see it come to fruition.
All right, thanks. Any questions from the board? Nope. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Thank you. All right, moving on to item number 3M. This one is to approve a rental housing revolving fund project award for the Meheula Vista project, Vista 4 project located in Mililani, Oahu, TMK 195002060 CPR 0004. Can you get a motion?
Move to approve.
Thanks, Gary. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thanks, Carol.
Aloha all. Yes, wonderful project presenting Meheula Vista 4, requesting your approval for the rental housing revolving fund monies in conjunction with the 9% low-income housing tax credit. This particular project is the 4th phase and will see the completion of 300 units in its totality. The project is asking for approximately $5.67 million in rental housing revolving fund. Again, years 1 through 2 during construction, there will be no interest payments. Interest will start in year 3. It will be 25 basis points or 0.25%. The term and maturity on this will be 52 years. So we're very confident. We're confident with the developer as well. 40% of the available cash flow after payment of expenses, senior debt, etc., will be paid directly to the rental housing revolving fund. So we do ask for your approval. And if you have any questions, I believe Mr. Fruta is available as well.
All right, thanks. Any questions from the board? No? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Thank you. All right, so moving on to item number 3N on the agenda. So this,
I apologize.
Yeah.
If I could, I'd like to go back, and this would be specifically to item I on the agenda. I'd like to make note that Exhibit H under conditions of low-income housing tax credit award, item 11, the date, instead of July 30, it should be June 30th. So my apologies for that oversight.
okay. All right, thanks. We'll make that amendment.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Okay, so item number N is to approve a request to conduct a public hearing on the low income housing tax credit program 2022-2023 qualified allocation plan. Can I get a motion?
Move to approve.
Thanks, Gary. A second?
Second.
Thanks, Kim.
Aye. The subject for action requests approval to conduct a public hearing on the low-income housing tax credit 2022-2023 qualified allocation plan, also known as the QAP. I'd like to clarify that this approval is only to allow HHFDC to conduct a public hearing targeted for July 23rd, 2021. Following the public hearing, staff will present testimony received by the public and will also seek board approval for the final approval of the QAP. The low-income housing tax credit was created by the Tax Reform Act in 1986 and is intended to encourage the construction or rehabilitation of low-income rental units. Section 42 of the Internal Revenue Code is the regulations that govern this program and requires that each state housing agency allocate low-income housing tax credits in accordance with a qualified allocation plan. The QAP sets forth the criteria to evaluate and allocate tax credits to projects which best meet the housing needs of the state and preferences required by Section 42, and the procedure to monitor projects for compliance with provisions of the LIHTC program. In accordance with Section 42, the QAP must go through a public hearing process. The proposed QAP is intended to be the allocation plan for the reservation and award of LIHTC for the calendar years 2022 and 2023. On June 18, 2020, the Housing Finance Program Subcommittee was established to review and assess the efficiency of HHFDC's financing programs with a focus on the QAP. The subcommittee focused on ways to speed up delivery of affordable housing and more efficiently use HHFDC's resources. The summary of changes to the 2022-2023 QAP can be found on pages 2 through 4 of the 4 action and follows the subcommittee's findings and recommendations that were presented to the board at the February 11, 2021 meeting. The revisions fell into 4 categories: clarification, statewide delivery of units, speeding up the application review process and delivery of projects, and efficiency of resources. So I'll just briefly go over the changes that's in the QAP that's attached as exhibits, but if you feel it's a little too detailed, just stop me at any time and we can just move on to the recommendation. I'll try to get this through as fast as possible. So under clarification, a revision was made to the policy section for acquisition and rehab of an existing building not used for housing. So basically what that clarified, if the building was not used for existing housing in the last 10 consecutive years, then it's eligible under that criteria. The second clarification was to criterion 10, and basically that just defined what is the extended use period. So it didn't change the requirement or anything, but it just made it really clear if someone were to look it up in our QEP that we're following section 42. So those are really the clarification. Under statewide delivery of units, we made a revision to criteria 2 to reduce the points from 4 to 3. This criterion was meant to take into consideration and to balance the income limits which directly impacts maximum rent and borrowing capacity of the project. So the neighbor islands who had a lower income restriction, because their rents are a little lower, they may qualify for less loan. So this was to balance out the various counties on that one. And then to assist with speeding up the application review process and delivery of projects, 5 revisions were made. 2 of the revisions proposed a penalty of prohibiting an applicant from reapplying for 6 months from the rejection date. So if they fail to establish and register the project owner name with the state of Hawaii, or if they use an authorized form or version of the consolidated application. So the business registration requirement has always been in there for us, but there was never a penalty if they didn't meet it, they would just be rejected. As far as using the unauthorized form of the consolidated application, we did find that we had a few that were doing that. So we wanted to make it really clear in this QAP that you need to use the current version and no changes to that. The third revision is a threshold requirement for 4% LIHTC applicants that requires zoning approval and compliance and 201H approval for the project. We all thought that would help speed things up if they had their 201H before they came in. And so that's why that one was added in there. The 4th and 5th revision allows for the consultant and is subject to the submission of supporting documentation to be included as part of the project owner team when evaluating the LIHTC developer experience. We felt that the experience of the development team directly affects the delivery of the project. To focus on the efficient use of resources, 3 revisions were made. The first revision added a threshold requirement for a plan and cost review to help gain better control of construction costs and HHFDC's allocation of sources. The second revision amended criterion 1, which is the resource and efficiency leveraging of LIHTC and HHFD resources. The scoring calculation was revised to compare the ratio of all HHFDC permanent resources to the number of LIHTC units and total project costs. Currently, the ratio compares only the LIHTC to the number of LIHTC units and total project costs. So an RHRF loan wouldn't be included in the comparison. So this change would take all of HHFDC's resources. The third revision amended criterion 3, which is the overall project feasibility and reasonableness of the development costs. The scoring calculation was revised to compare total development costs against the residential square footage only. Currently, the calculation compares the total development cost against the gross building square footage, which may include common areas, commercial areas, and community service facilities. The tentative timeline of events following the public hearing can be found on page 4 of the 4 actions. And before moving on to the recommendation, I was asked to hand over the remainder of the presentation to Christopher Oakes. Chris, are you on the call? No, I can take just a second. One second, sorry, I've been asked to wait just a minute so they can gather it.
Thank you, Jocelyn. I guess at this time while we're waiting, I did notice there is a number of from the development community still on. So Chair Mendy, it is your prerogative to invite them to comment, although this is a request to take it to public hearing and they will have another opportunity. But at this particular moment, we have the full board, your prerogative. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Denise. Yeah, sure. I mean, if there's stakeholders out there, I think the board would benefit by hearing some of their comments. Again, if you could please state your name and limit your comments to 3 minutes, that'd be great. But if there's anyone that wants to make comments,
Chair, this is Karen Seddon. I'm the regional vice president for the Michaels Development Company. One of the changes I wanted to make a comment on, on criterion 2, it's nice to go from the disadvantage for Oahu to go from 4 to 3 points, but it's still quite a disadvantage for Oahu. And it gets really difficult to make up those points when you know that every year you're going to be 3 or 4 points down. Going into the whole scoring process. So I'm not sure that it's quote unquote fair for Oahu. So one way to make up for that 4 or 3 point loss has been perhaps to go higher on the sustainability scoring. So, but the problem with that is when you go in and you go to gold or platinum, what happens is your costs increase anywhere from 1% to 3% as you go up that scale. And depending on what type of, how large your project is and what type of materials are used in it. So that's a disadvantage as well, because then your cost goes up because you go to using, lead, platinum, or gold to make up for those points if you're on Oahu. So I just, and that doesn't do any of us any good because that uses up our resources. And so I've always kind of looked at this as an unintended consequence of, having Oahu be disadvantaged because it adds cost. And so then you're disadvantaged at having extra costs. So I just wanted to put that out in front of the board to think about as we go into the actual comments that'll have to be made at the actual meeting. So thank you for your time.
All right, thank you, Karen. Anybody else?
This is Mo Mohana with Highbridge Costa, if I may, please.
Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And want to thank the staff. It's very hard to review QAPs and come up with solutions and weigh the balance is very difficult. A couple of comments to consider under the zoning approval compliance. It mentions 201H approval only. To bring to the staff's attention that other counties such as Maui have a separate process, such as the 2.97, and therefore other processes that are approved that substitute Roman numerat I and Roman numerat II zoning approval and or 201H should be included to accommodate the other islands. A comment on the developer experience adding to the consultant. While the consultants bring huge value, and we've learned that in multiple states that we work in. However, there's a critical need for the actual developer to have both development experience and affordable housing experience. The guarantees at the end of the day for the short term during construction and perm are posted by the developer, not the consultant, as well as the longer term guarantees. It also goes beyond guarantees as to the pitfalls that are part and parcel of low-income housing tax credit program, from compliance to long-term reporting and so on and so forth. It is a full-time shop to set up to do this business. And it's not a matter of applying, getting an award, or completing a project, but the key is long-term. So I caution and ask for that to be looked at carefully. Under resource efficiency and leveraging, I do respect the concern in order to restrict it to residential. However, it is important to understand that there are a minimum square footage of common area that is important to the residential development. While we should discourage amenities that are oversized and unnecessary in square footage, it is important to have a minimum amount. So if that recommendation is to go through as is, there should be a minimum that is included to ensure that developers provide those necessary items. Those are my comments, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. All righty, anyone else?
Chair, Rob Van
Yes.
Tassel with Catholic Charities Hawaii.
Hi, Rob.
Hi, thank you, Chair, esteemed board members and staff who I know have worked so diligently on this excellent presentation. Thank you for this. I just have a few comments. I agree with Mo on several of his. Definitely on the experience of the developer, I think is really important. There is like a 50 to 60 year commitment that we're making to this project, and understanding the sustainability of the developer to hold that commitment up to the public is really key. I think another thing is he spoke about too is the guarantees that come with this. So having the balance sheet and the sustainability to do this is really critical. As he mentioned, other states can point to lessons where this has unfortunately not happened. And down the road, developers are unable to maintain the properties. I think the other one too that I look at is the statewide development. Catholic Charities Hawaii is privileged and honored to be able to serve across all islands and is developing right now on both Maui and Oahu. But there are challenges to doing development on Oahu, as was mentioned. And I think looking at a way to balance that out is going to be really key. The current gap right now, because of how things are going, it just looks like it's going to be a struggle for Oahu. So I would really ask to take a careful look at that and consider some other proposals as well to try to keep the balance between the neighboring islands and Oahu as best and equitable as we can. So those are my comments. I think the other thing on the square footage, I would agree with that as well, that making sure with what Mo had just said, there needs to be a minimum amount that's done with that. But let's keep in mind that these tax credits are really to be used for the residential housing development. While some amenities are needed and important to have, I am concerned that if we have them be a greater percentage of the project, we will cut down on the number of units we can produce using the tax credits and the other affordable housing tools that we have. Thank you, Chair.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone else? I see Chris is there, so I guess. No other comments?
Yes, I'm back, yeah. Thank you. What I actually would like to propose is change to the way that we accept good faith deposits for low-income housing tax credit projects. Per chapter 13, 311, I believe it states that we can keep all of the monies. We get 10% on low-income housing tax credits. So that's a good faith deposit. We normally return 40%. We'd like to actually change that paradigm. So we're looking into that so that we can sustain, obviously, you're seeing so many projects come through now, which is great. And we want to build more affordable housing, but we also need to support the staff. And so, yeah, this would be a proposition to perhaps increase, or instead of us only taking 60%, we perhaps maybe get 75%. And this is only to help facilitate administrative costs so that we can process all of these new developments.
So Chair Mendy, if I could just augment what Chris is presenting.
Sure.
This is just a preliminary, just very preview of the direction I think we want to go in. We're going to look into this. I think what Chris is trying to say is we really want to look seriously at the administrative rules, which talks about the deposits and the fees. We have to look at ways to be a lot more sustainable as a finance branch unit. And this is just the introduction to that. We'll have more conversations, but that's the direction that we're going. And this is just a heads up to the board. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And yeah, I apologize if my apologies.
Okay.
So,
Some more information. Yeah.
Just a quick question. So just to be clear, this is not part of the for action?
No.
Okay, and would this be an issue that could be brought to the Housing Finance Program Subcommittee for analysis and discussion? Okay.
Yes, definitely. And that's what we're actually looking forward to. Yes.
Okay.
If I just make one clarification, as the executive director mentioned, we are reviewing our administrative rules regarding the fees. So that's ongoing. But this particular item that Chris brought up is regarding the QAP. So we will be looking at that. So it's a slightly different process than promulgating or amending our administrative rules. So one is the admin rules, and there's the QAP regarding the good faith 10% deposit and the percentage that we would keep for administrative fees. So two different processes. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Any other comments on this subject?
Chair, if I may just make a quick comment.
Sure.
I just want to thank the staff. I know there was a lot of work that went into this. There was a lot of trying to balance different interests that sometimes conflict. But I think at the end of the day, you know, it's a good quality product to present. Is it perfect? Well, that remains to be seen. Obviously, there's still some things that need to be touched up, but I think the staff did a yeoman's job, you know, trying to balance those, bringing fair and impartial perspectives to the finance committee that, or this QAP committee that we were able to make decisions to get to this point, and look forward to continued discussions in the public hearing so that we can move forward.
Thank you very
All right,
much.
thanks.
Chair, can I clarify whether there's the finance subcommittee that looks at the QAP is still in effect, or has that been disbanded? Could I ask the board secretary if she recalls? Because I understand that Director Mackler asked if this is something that's going to be looked at in the next month.
Mm-hmm.
The subcommittee, is that correct? Or is it something that's going to be brought subsequently? I want to make sure that that particular subcommittee is still in effect, and if not, you can create it today.
So I'm sorry that Sandy, good catch. I think there's a new subcommittee called the Finance Program Rules Committee.
I corrected that. That should cover it. That can overlap. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks for that. I guess if there's nothing else, call for the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you. All right, moving on to item number 4, overview by the executive director.
Thank you very much, Chair. Good morning again, board members. I just want to mahalo all of you for allowing this forum to be used for the Homeowners Assistance Fund program. This morning, it was a critical juncture in order for Hawaii to get some home ownership relief money. So thank you very much for allowing us that time. You have my report. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. I know it was a long meeting. I want to congratulate staff because they had their presentations well organized and we were able to move this along fairly quickly. So happy to answer any questions that any of you may have at this time on the report.
Anybody have any questions? No? All right. Yes, thank you. I wanted to try to get through it. We had a big agenda today. I wanted to try to get through it as fast as we can. So I guess if there's nothing else, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thanks. Can I get a second? Thanks, Carol. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
You.
Holiday.